Welcome to Faculty Spotlight at the University of Michigan-Flint School of Management. I'm pleased to welcome today Professor Thomas Hemphill, who's the David French Professor of Strategy, Innovation, and Public Policy. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing just peachy, Michael.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. The students who are watching this would appreciate knowing a bit about you.
Well, I actually worked for a living much of my life before entering academia. So I acquired my PhD when I was 51, and that was 15 years ago. And at that point, I wanted a second career. I had gone back for my doctorate in my late 20s, and it didn't take. So the second time around, it did take. In the interim 15 years before getting into my doctorate, I was publishing, and I realized that I could write for academic journals, and that's part of being successful as a professor, especially if you want to be tenured and promoted, is that you must publish or perish. So I went to George Washington University. I had a wonderful time there. And at the time, I was emphasizing in my coursework the areas of strategy and public policy, and my minor field, which was in the Elliott School of International Affairs, was in technology and innovation policy. My dissertation was done jointly with faculty from that school, as well as the School of Management, and it had to do with essentially tracking the evolution of 2G and 3G telecommunication standards, wireless telecommunication standards. And I was involved working with the Technology Industry Information Association of America, TIAA, in Greater Washington, D.C., who gave me access to my data. And I was able to do that. Otherwise, as I like to tell people, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But they were actually great. And I spent a year there on and off working with them. So
we're not quite as fabulous as Washington, D.C. here. What attracts you? What attracts you to Flint and the university here?
Well, I got a job offer, and my wife at the time, who's also from New Jersey, said, I need to be able to jump in my car and drive home so I can get to the beach where I live. And we were at the outer extreme, which means that you can do it in a day and come in tired, which is about 10 and a half hours. So that was important at the time. And one has trade-offs when it comes to where one decides to go and hang one's PhD diploma. So that was part of it. But they made a very good offer to me at Flint at the time. And you know, I've been here for the last 15 years, and will likely finish out my remaining few years here as well.
Well, you teach various courses here at the university. What are they?
Well, I teach at the graduate level non-market strategy, which deals with the socio-political and legal environment for economic institutions, meaning businesses. This is the area that is part of strategic management called the environmental analysis area. So this course covers environmental analysis, which students would not normally spend much time on in the course since it is very broad. And my course precedes Dr. White's strategic management course. So you have plenty of background once you get to his course. I also teach in the areas of innovation management, both at the graduate and undergraduate level. And also in one or two undergraduate strategy classes as well.
What do you like to do in your free time?
I actually like to do a little traveling. When I can get some reading in between my research, I generally stay abreast of the political and economic environment in general. And I also am involved in some physical exercise, such as some weightlifting and some running, things like that.
You keep healthy.
Yes, try to keep the weight down.
Yeah. What advice do you have for students who work? They're attempting to go to school. A lot of our students are work full-time and attend school full-time. What advice do you have for them? And what course do you think they should absolutely take before they leave the university?
Well,
Of course.
I think our students, since 90% of them work at least part-time, many of them full-time as well, I would recommend that they be realistic about the number of classes they take, whether at the undergraduate or graduate level. I know there's pressure to complete the degree program, but I also know that they need to be getting some quality out of their education, and they're involved in a lot of team exercises with other students. So they have to be able to cooperate and contribute in those situations. I'd rather them have a balanced life. So instead of taking 9 to 12 credit hours and they're working full time, think about taking 6 credit hours, and then think about using the spring and summer to offset that, where you can take a course or 2 there. It may take you a little longer as an undergraduate, but you will be able to get through it with a lot less stress, and financially, it probably will be to your advantage. Same thing at the graduate level. I think that if it takes you an extra year to complete your graduate degree, do it. You'll get a lot more out of your education, and it will be far less stressful for you as a student. And you'll reach your goal. Since we're not here for you to burn out.
That's very helpful. Any last words of advice for our students?
Well, I mean, at the undergraduate level, you may get to see me because I am teaching innovation management, so that if you're majoring in entrepreneurship and innovation management as your major, you'll take my class. If you're going to be a master's student, I would say you'll see me in Management 552 on market strategy. And I look forward to that. I think I try to make them interesting classes as well as informative and applicable to your jobs, which most of you are working.
Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael. You be well.